Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thrilled to have Patrick and Margaret. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Just to open, I think it's a pretty safe bet we've all heard of Amazon, and I think we've probably all heard of Apple Pay. But Patrick, you represent Amazon Pay, and I'm not sure all of us are clear what that is. Do you want to give us a quick recap?
It's very simple. Amazon Pay is the service by which we enable any of the more than 300 million Amazon customers around the world to shop at other merchants using the information they have on their Amazon account. So it's not just the methods of payment, but it's also information such as the address book that they have on their account, which is quite useful when you're shipping things. It might also be information about who they are. For instance, the Prime indicator can be used in the context of personalizing a transaction.
Gotcha. And Margaret, Synchrony, I think that's one of those names a lot of people know, but can't quite define. If I had to, it'd be like you were spun out of GE Capital and you white label all sorts of retailers' credit cards and quietly sort of built an empire. Is that fair?
That's kind of good.
Okay.
It's a good example. But we also have a bank as well. So we do savings products now, which we have good rates. So if anyone's interested, you should check out Synchrony Bank.
Okay. We're talking a lot about disruption today. It's interesting, all these banks and tech companies, and everyone says they're going to be part of payments, but it sort of seems like it's going to be musical chairs. You can't all have a slice of this. And Margaret, I'm going to give you perhaps a tough one. You specialize in plastic and credit cards. That seems one thing that's probably going to be gone in coming years. So how are you going to be able to kind of compete with all this other stuff?
Yeah, I don't think I really think of the business as plastic. I think that the world of digital payments is fast evolving. And we can actually do all kinds of digital payments. So, some people choose to carry the plastic, others do not. And, I think over time, as mobile wallets and become more ubiquitous in terms of how people use them, eventually plastic will go away. I don't know when that happens, but, in my case, in the business that we drive, we're really trying to be at the place of purchase where that customer is, which it could be online, it could be on their phone, it could be with a digital card, or actually swiping a card.
So you're building wallets too then?
We support the wallets of our retailers. So we're in Apple Pay, we're in Google, we're wherever the customer is.
You're in Amazon Pay.
And we're in Amazon Pay, as an example. And we are in the wallets of our retailers, or in their wallets if they have one.
And Patrick, turning to you, you spoke a little before about paying with your voice. And the next generation of computing, I think, clearly is voice. I use it to dictate my emails sometimes. However, I have an Alexa in my house, and I confess, I think she's invited me a couple times to buy things, and I was like, no, I'm good, Alexa. Tell me exactly, will payments by voice really materialize?
I think sometimes we use a proxy payment by voice to really avoid talking about the real value that we're creating. So, voice, as you pointed out, is not new. What's new is intelligence behind the voice. And the intelligence behind the voice is what allows us to make the conversation with Alexa very natural, down to be able to understand, for instance, accents and so on. It's what allows us to understand the context of the person, because if you speak naturally, like we're doing, there is an implicit understanding of what the context is. Well, you need the intelligence then with Alexa to understand the context. Otherwise, you will have improper answer. For instance, if I'm ordering ticket to a movie, I don't want to go through a list of all the available movies in my town. I want Alexa to know the zip code that I'm in and to surface the 3 theaters around me that are the most adapted to my time, to my preferences, and so on. That's an expression of understanding of context. In order to understand context, you have to have data. And to have data, you have to have a deep component of trust. So it's voice is a proxy for natural interaction, which is contextual and rooted in trust. Once you go there, it's not necessarily limited to payment. As a matter of fact, one of the first things we've recently introduced for all the Amazon Pay merchants is the capacity to notify consumers of shipment. Why? Because all the data we have, both market research as well as customer care calls, tells us that's the #1 thing people care about. So you may be buying and paying online on your mobile. You still want to know where's your stuff, and you don't want to make an appointment with yourself to go on a computer.
So it'll be like,
password.
Alexa, where's my stuff?
Alexa, where's my stuff?
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
And so with the capacity to interact in a very natural and contextual way, then you're able to serve capabilities in the moment that are going to really complement what you may buy. And you may still buy certain things, but I think the full spectrum of what you can do is what needs to be not missed. I'm sure you have application for it just in financial services.
Yeah, we actually are on Alexa with our cards. So you can tell Alexa you want to pay your card. Or Alexa, what's my balance on my card? So we're already integrating with Alexa in terms of our program that we have with Amazon. So
it sounds like these things in our houses are not going to turn into shopping devices, but they will sort of be kind of auxiliary and provide support.
I think they'll be
functions
shopping devices. You can reorder on Amazon using Alexa, and if you have our card in Amazon Pay, it'll go through our card, and then you could check your balance on your card, see if you have enough to pay the basket, or you want to do other things.
You can, but are people actually doing this?
I do think people are buying using Alexa, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, actually, they are. But, having said that, let's be brutally honest, we are at the very beginning. It's a little bit like mobile 9-10 years ago, or the web 20 years ago, where we are learning what are the customer experiences that make sense to the customer. And it's iterative. Learning is a flywheel of its own. And so I'm absolutely confident because Alexa is device independent. You're no longer holding a consumer hostage to a particular device. I'm confident that we will see a broad set of application, including purchases. They already do it. 1 in 5 person in the US say that they're willing to do it today, which 1 in 5 is early adopters and innovators. Those are the people at this moment of the cycle we want to capture.
And I don't suppose Amazon can share any data about how many people are actually purchasing with voice devices.
Well, no, we don't. But however, I think what's important is, as I said, 1 in 5 people are absolutely ready to do it today. What is even more interesting to me is 1 in 3 are telling us that the value they see in voice devices is this capacity to do things in the moment. Right? So think about it this way. If any of you is not thinking of asking Alexa things in the moment, like where's my stuff, one of the people sitting next to you is. That's the simplest way of putting at it. And that, considering that Alexa really was introduced 4 years ago, it foretells of great opportunities to innovate on customer experience.
I'd like to turn to something else. An earlier theme that came up on a panel was overseas in terms of credit scores and providing credit. People are resorting to other measures, and also the silliness of the American regulatory thing where people have to fill out all these forms when we have a lot of info out there to say how we can pay. What I'm getting at is you guys teamed up recently to issue credit cards for people with bad credit, and presumably you're
Not
doing
just
that.
bad, or maybe no credit.
Yeah.
Not just bad. I just wanted to clarify. It could be thin files. People have thin files or who had bad credit. People who want to rebuild their credit.
So tell us a little more about how that works and why you're doing it.
So, I think basically what, we want to do is, as Patrick said, is to be able to support our partners so that wherever that customer is, we're there with the ability to allow them to purchase. And obviously, when you're online, having a credit card makes it a lot easier. So we built this product along with Amazon where you put a deposit in our bank, we give you a credit line, and then we help you rebuild your credit scores with the goal, hopefully, to graduate them to a real credit card, regular credit card down the road. And I think it's a great way. I think one of the exciting things about the product is if you're a Prime customer, you actually get the benefits of the Prime credit card that we have. So they get discounts. So you're really serving an underserved market who can shop on Amazon 24/7. Many of these people have more than one job. They're very busy people. They can get things online. They can shop with the credit builder, and then ultimately, hopefully, we're building their credit scores so that they can really build their credit profile going forward.
This might be an improper thing to say, but my impression, a lot of people have bad credit, or they probably don't have money to put aside to put a down payment on a credit card and be methodical like that. Do you think there's enough people out there to really?
Yeah, these are small. These are small amounts, and I think you'd be very surprised that people who are struggling actually have very innovative ways. They try to put things together, and I think if you really just simply think about taking $200 or $100, putting it in an account and then building your credit and allowing you to shop 24/7, getting discounts, that's something that's hard for a consumer to do today. So I do think that if we see this product work well, there's other things we can think about. As we learn more about that consumer, there's a lot of credit education on this. We have a whole credit education process on the site so people can learn about credit. And look, I think the reality is we have a lot of people in the US who don't have credit and can't get credit and don't have access to these types of things. And I think this is a good thing we're trying to do.
I agree. Patrick, I'm going to ask you this, but this little thing Facebook's doing, how come Amazon didn't do it? Because I think if you do sort of brand trust surveys, Facebook's got a lot of reputational issues right now, whereas Amazon, I think, is still quite liked. You have, the relationships already. It sort of would have been easy enough for you guys to kind of, become a bank or do a Libra type thing. Why didn't you?
On the question of Libra, I think it's fresh, it's speculative. At Amazon, we deal not really in the speculative in the now, so I don't really have a lot to add on this. I think you point something really important, which is trust in the Amazon brand. This is something we take super, super seriously. We consider trust of our customers as the most important asset that we have. And we value it, we nurture it every day. Part of the nurturing the trust of those customers means that we always start from an identified need that we think we can really understand and that we have capabilities to solve. So the fact that we can build something does not mean that we should. Right? We're constantly asking ourselves, will we, with a well-identified need, create a solution that will actually solve a customer problem today and that can scale. And that's kind of how we approach product development. That's how we've approached Amazon Pay. Amazon Pay was built because people trust Amazon, and therefore we can help merchants and customers connect in the wide world.
Just to make sure I understand, you didn't do Libra because you don't see an ROI there, or you just don't see a customer desire for it?
Really, on Libra, again, I think, I'll be, at Amazon, we deal with data a lot. So I'll be happy to have that conversation 2-3 years from now. I think right now, we deal on the type of customer needs that we can solve in the now. Voice is an example we had a moment ago. And that's really kind of the focus that we have.
And Margaret, you've got a pretty good window of the broader landscape because you work with many, many retailers. What did you think about the whole thing?
I think, look, all this technology is interesting. I think it's still early days. I'm not 100% sure yet what problem it's solving. I do think cross-border things like that, it could help. But I think it's still early. I would be where Patrick is. I think we got to see it play out. I mean, we always pay attention to what's happening, and we'll jump in if we think it's something that's worthwhile.
And I think one of our earlier guests, CEO of Western Union, called it a long shot, and I think in part because working with 27 partners to build, a consortium like that seems unwieldy. Do you think that's going to pose a difficulty at all?
Well, look, it's always difficult when you're herding a lot of cats.
Right.
I still think back to what Patrick said, which is the fundamental thing: what does the consumer really want, and what are we really trying to solve for the consumer? I think once that's really clear, then I think you'll have more people kind of buying in and figuring out how to get in there.
I certainly have more questions for you too, but I'd love to put it to the audience for a sec. Does anyone have a question for Patrick or Margaret? Right there, please. The mic is coming.
Hi, Brian Domain Fortune. Question for Patrick. Do you see Amazon over time forming something like a prime bank? I mean, you're already lending, I think last year, about $1 billion to your third-party sellers. So you sort of are getting or tiptoeing into the lending business. You've got Amazon Pay. You've got 100 million Prime customers there who might find it really convenient to have Amazon as some sort of bank, maybe not a regulated bank. But could you sort of play that out? Is that something you think about? Could it happen?
Right before you answer, I'd love to be an unregulated bank, so
yeah, totally. Exactly. To be honest, I'm not sure I understand your question. Let me tell you why. Amazon Pay is a service that any Amazon customer, including Prime, can use without having to do anything. If you have an Amazon account, I imagine a few of you do, you can use Amazon Pay at any participating merchant. And so, and we do see a very high incidence of Prime customer using it. We work with partners such as Synchrony to actually make sure that the base of customers we have a lot of choice in how they're actually paying for their purchases. It would be absolutely natural for us to partner with financial institution like many in this room to do this, because we believe in the power of choice for consumers. So I think with Amazon Pay and working with our partners, we are delivering on I think what the picture that you're painting already.
And I think the interesting thing is Amazon makes companies like us better because they have a star system. We're held to the same star system because our product's rated. And so I think one of the really beauties of the tech companies and financial services getting together is all boats rise. And so by them really ensuring we're delivering for their customer, we have a huge responsibility because we're representing the Amazon brand. We have to deliver. And I think the two of us, the two companies working together, make things hopefully better for the consumer in the long term.
So it's more of a partnership than Amazon going it alone in the financial sector?
Look, we partner with financial institutions all the time.
We're one, they have others.
You know, our partnership goes, what, more than a decade,
Yeah,
right?
more than a decade.
Just a few months ago, we announced a partnership with WorldPay in order to bring Amazon Pay to a broader set of merchants. Earlier today, you heard about the work we're doing with Western Union in order to help digitize cash. Amazon is a very pragmatic company. As I said, we start from the customer problem. What's the best way to solve that problem? What do we have to build? What do we have to partner? And then we measure success and rinse and repeat. So.
I'd love to get another question in there. Anyone else? Right there, please, sir.
Hi, Arvind Purushottam from City Ventures. Question for you, Margaret. You know, we see companies like Affirm that are coming into the point-of-sale lending space. That's been an important spot for you when it comes to retail. But on online and mobile, how do you think about defending that position for Synchrony?
Yeah, well, I'd say first, we're always looking at the competitive landscape, and obviously Affirm has built a good product. We actually have a similar product we're piloting right now. I think when you look at the size and scope of Synchrony, from a scale perspective, we're still way far ahead of where Affirm is, but I think we have to make sure that we're not losing ground, and we're rolling out a product that is similar to a firm called SetPay that's being piloted right now. So, I think we're entrenched in our partners. We've had many of these partners for, as a matter of fact, my team is down with Lowe's right now, celebrating 40 years with Lowe's. So, I think our history, our ability to flex, our ability to move forward is really what's going to hold us together, even when new competitors come into the market like Affirm.
We're almost out of time here. I'd love to wrap up. We do the predict the future thing. I know you guys typically don't, but this is an easy one. How many years until plastic credit cards go away?
People ask me this. I think someone earlier said that habit is hard to break. I think it's going to be longer than we think. Because I'm still surprised that more people aren't using digital more.
But if you had to say a number of years, 5 years, 10 years, 50 years?
I don't know. I'll let you answer. You're Amazon Pay.
I think if I could make those types of prediction, I would be retired by now, because my portfolio would have.
Come on, get a number out of at least one of you. Come on.
Look, my sense is this either or is not very customer centric, right? Customers still use cash, and in particular if you look around the world. In Japan, not exactly underdeveloped economy, cash still matters a lot. So does Germany. In Northern Europe, the use of cash has been declining. In the US, paper money still represents a significant amount of transactions. So of course, more and more things happen digitally, including, as we discussed earlier with Alexa, and that will influence the future, but at the same time, consumers want choice, and who are we to deny them that?
Fair enough. Okay, we are out of time, but please give a hand to Patrick and Margaret.
Thank you.